Imagine you are an architect. Your king gives you a task: build a mountain, a perfect mountain, for flat triangular sides, aligned precisely with the 4 compass points. Rising 146 meters into the desert sky, the base must be level to within 2 centimeters across 53,000 square meters of ground. Every block must fit so precisely that you cannot slide a piece of paper between them. You have copper tools, wooden sleds, human muscle, and 20 years impossible. The Egyptians did it. And they were so good at it that what they built has been standing for 4,500 years, and will probably outlast every building on earth that exists today. This is ancient Egypt, and we are still genuinely, honestly, trying to understand it. The birth of a civilization, a giant civilization, did not appear suddenly. It grew slowly, over thousands of years, along the banks of one river, the Nile. The Nile was everything. Every year it flooded, depositing rich black silt across the floodplain. Some of the most fertile soil on earth. In the middle of a desert, Egyptian farmers could grow enormous surpluses in the narrow green strip along the river. That surplus fed everyone else: the builders, the priests, the soldiers, the scribes, the pharaoh. Around 3100 BC, a king named Narmer unified the kingdoms of Upper and Lower Egypt under a single rule. He wore a double crown, white for Upper Egypt, red for Lower Egypt, symbolizing that both lands were now one. From that moment, one of the longest running experiments in human civilization began. For the next 3,000 years, through invasions, famines, foreign rulers, civil wars, and catastrophic floods, Egypt always came back. No civilization in human history lasted as long. The age of pyramids. The Old Kingdom, roughly 2700 to 2200 BC, was the age of pyramid building. And it began with an idea no one had ever attempted before. Pharaoh Djoser and his architect Imhotep, history's first named engineer, built the Step Pyramid at Saqqara around 2650 BC. It was the first large stone building in human history. 6 massive terraces rising 62 meters above the desert. Within a century, the Egyptians had refined the concepts to perfection. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BC, contains 2.3 million stone blocks. Some individual blocks weigh up to 80 tons. The entire structure weighs 6 million tons. It remained the tallest man-made structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years, until the Lincoln Cathedral was built in England in 1311 AD. And here is the part that genuinely still puzzles engineers and archaeologists. The precision is extraordinary. The 4 sides of the base are aligned to true north, south, east, and west, within a fraction of a degree of perfect compass alignment. The base is level to within 2.1 centimeters across an area the size of 10 football pitches. How did they do it? Without GPS, without laser levels, without modern surveying equipment? The honest answer is, we have strong theories, but no complete certainty. Evidence suggests massive organized ramp systems, copper tools, water levels for precision measurement, and a workforce of skilled paid laborers, not slaves, as the myth claims. Archaeological evidence has found workers' villages near Giza, with evidence of medical care, decent food, and proper burial. These were organized, respected craftspeople, but the full method still debated. Still fascinating. The Pharaohs. Egypt's power came from the pharaoh, who was not just a king, but a living god. The pharaoh was the earthly embodiment of Horus, the falcon god. When he died, he became Osiris, ruler of the underworld. Every act of the pharaoh was a religious act. Every war he fought was a cosmic battle between order and chaos. This belief gave Egyptian society extraordinary stability. The system worked for 3,000 years not because Egyptians were forced to obey, but because they genuinely believed the pharaoh held the universe in balance. Challenge the pharaoh and you were not just committing treason, you were threatening the sun itself. Ramesses II, Ramesses the Great, understood this better than anyone. He ruled Egypt for 66 years. From 1279 to 1213 BC he fought the Hittites at the Battle of Kadesh, one of the first battles in history for which we have detailed records from both sides. The battle was essentially a draw, but Ramesses declared it a great victory, carved the story on temple walls across Egypt, and made his name immortal. He also signed history's first recorded peace treaty with the Hittite king, and a copy hangs today at United Nations headquarters in New York. He had at least 96 children. He lived to be 90 years old. At a time when most people died before 40, he was, by almost any measure, the most successful pharaoh in Egyptian history. The Valley of the Kings, the New Kingdom, roughly 1550 to 1070 BC. The pharaohs had stopped building pyramids. Pyramids were too obvious, too easy to find, too easy to rob. Instead, they carved their tombs deep into the limestone cliffs of a hidden valley on the west bank of the Nile. Across the river from the great city of Thebes, modern Luxor, the Valley of the Kings, 63 tombs have been found there, decorated with extraordinary paintings, scenes of the afterlife, images of gods, texts from the Book of the Dead. In colours still vivid after 3,000 years, almost every tomb was robbed in antiquity. The gold, the jewels, the furniture taken, sometimes within decades of burial. But in 1922, a British archaeologist named Howard Carter found one that had survived almost intact. Tutankhamun, the boy king, who died at approximately 19 years old, who ruled for only about 9 years, who was considered relatively insignificant by ancient Egyptian standards, turned out to have the most complete royal tomb ever discovered. 5,000 objects. A solid gold coffin, a golden funeral mask of breathtaking beauty, furniture, clothing, food, games, jewelry, weapons, everything a young king might need in the next life. If this was what a minor pharaoh had, what must the great pharaohs' tombs have contained? We will never know. They were robbed before history could record them. The fall and the legacy. Egypt did not fall to one enemy in one moment. It fell slowly, over centuries, to a succession of foreign powers, each one conquered by the place they conquered. The Syrians sacked Thebes in 663 BC. The Persians conquered Egypt in 525 BC. Alexander the Great arrived in 332 BC and was welcomed as a liberator. He was crowned pharaoh and consulted the oracle of Ammon in the western desert. He founded Alexandria on the Mediterranean coast, which became the greatest intellectual city of the ancient world. Its library collected the knowledge of every civilization known. Its scholars included Euclid, Archimedes, and Eratosthenes, the man who calculated the circumference of the earth accurately. Into 40 BC, the Ptolemaic Greeks ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years. The last of them was Cleopatra. When she died in 30 BC, Egypt became a Roman province. 3,000 years of pharaonic civilization ended, but not forgotten, never forgotten. The 365-day calendar we use today was invented in Egypt. The concept of organized medicine, the earliest known surgical textbook, is Egyptian, 4,000 years old. The 24-hour day, divided into hours, comes from Egypt. The Great Pyramid still stands. The Sphinx still watches the sunrise every morning, as it has for 4,500 years. The mummies in museum cases still carry the DNA of real people who breathed Nile air when the world was young. Egypt built things meant to last forever, and in ways that no other civilization quite managed. It did. 3,000 years is not just a long time. It is a statement about ambition, about belief, about what human beings are capable of when they decide that some things should endure. Egypt decided, and then it proved it.